it is warm today. A week today will mark the end of August, and putting to one side the fact that this year seems to be passing by incredibly quickly, I wanted to take the opportunity to invite you to join me on a no-buy month, or as I'm calling it, No Spend September. Now, I know many of you know that I did a no-buy year that started back in March 2020 and spanned all the way into March 2021, but what you might not know is that I never actually intended to do a year-long no-buy when I first set out. Initially, I thought I'd do a no-buy period for maybe a couple of months, the idea being that this would help me bolster my savings, increase my emergency fund, and also help me save towards a future potential house purchase. But as time went on, and especially as I started to see how much money I was managing to save, it almost became a bit of a game to see how long I could keep going, and then the no-buy year was born. But it all started with the commitment to just not buy anything but the bare essentials for 1 month. Now you might be thinking, hang on a minute Kirsty, you said that your no-buy year changed your shopping habits forever. Why on earth do you need to do a no-buy September? Well, the truth is, I don't. But so many of you got in touch after my initial no-buy year video and said that you'd love to give it a go, but you didn't think you'd be able to do it. But perhaps if we're doing it together, it might be easier to give it a go. Think of it a little bit like having an exercise buddy. When you've committed to go for a regular run with a friend, on those days when you get up and you don't want to go, it's a bit gloomy out, looks like it might rain, you just can't be bothered. But you end up going anyway because you have got that friend that keeps you accountable. Well, this is how I thought No Spend September could be if we did it together. Now, I've done a whole video on no-buy tips previously, which I will link in the description for you, but just a few things to consider in the meantime before we get going on September the 1st. Firstly, this is not an excuse to go absolutely wild shopping in the next week. You might decide that you want to pick up some of the things that you will need, focus on need, so that you don't have to go into any shops in the 30-day period, just to kind of remove that temptation for you. But you definitely should not be going on a shopping spree to somehow soothe you over the next 30 days. It's 30 days, you'll survive, I promise. Secondly, decide your rules. Look, we are all very different. We all lead very different lives. We might even be at different stages of our lives. We may or may not have families that we need to look after. So what is essential to one will not necessarily be essential to another, and that's perfectly fine. But it can be useful to decide ahead of time what are some of the things that you might need to allow yourself to spend on. What are the things that kind of are a necessity that you might need to spend on in that 30-day period. When I did my no-buy, the rules were pretty simple. I couldn't buy anything but essentials, but I did allow myself to buy things like cleaning products or toiletries, but only if they run out. I didn't have to buy the cheapest shower gel possible, but I could only purchase it if the one that I had ran out. And I wasn't allowed to buy some because, I don't know, I found one that smelt really nice in the shop, or that it was on offer or whatever. I think in most cases there isn't much that we truly need to buy in a 30-day period, apart from the obvious like food, etc. But it can be helpful to decide ahead of time what are your personal rules. Thirdly, go into it with the right mindset. So I've seen a little bit of criticism recently around no buys and no spend challenges and how they can lead people to overspend at the end of the no buy period. And whilst I completely accept that that probably is a genuine reality for some people, I think like so many things in life, it comes down to our mindset and our attitude. So if you go into a no buy challenge thinking that you need to punish yourself for all of the mindless spending that you've done in your past, that you really still want to buy all of these things but that it's not allowed, that you spend your time looking on websites at all of the things you wish you could buy but you're not allowed, and you start creating a list of all of the things that you're going to reward yourself with at the end of the challenge, then yes, you will fail spectacularly and probably spend an absolute fortune. I kind of think of it like diets. You know, if you go into a diet to punish yourself and almost force your body into submission, but you don't really want to be on a diet and you don't really want to be eating this food, and you know, you'd much rather be eating the other stuff that probably got you to the point that you wanted to go into a diet in the first place, and you spend your entire time thinking about chocolate cake and how you're going to treat yourself at the end of the diet. Well, then you're probably headed for a blowout. But if you instead go into it that actually you just want to improve your lifestyle, that you want to develop some healthier habits, that you want to feel more comfortable in your body, that the time is going to pass anyway, and you can still have the things that you want, just maybe not as often, well, then you're much more likely to gain success. And I think that no buys can be the same way. If you go into it thinking, you know what, 30 days isn't that long. You know, I already have lots of lovely things that I can wear or use, and it's just an opportunity to learn a little bit more about myself. You know, what are my shopping triggers? What is it that makes me kind of spend a little bit mindlessly? Then, you know, I think that you're going to have a much better chance of success. It can also really help to know your why when embarking on a no-buy challenge. In truth, you probably aren't going to get the biggest benefit from the challenge if the only reason you're doing it is just because I invited you to. But instead, if you have a why, a reason why you want to do this, one that is important to you, then you're not only likely to succeed, but also get some real benefit from it. Now, your why doesn't particularly matter. It can be almost anything, so long as it's important to you. So it could be that you want to understand a little bit more about yourself. What are your shopping triggers? When do you tend to impulse buy? Is it when you're bored? Is it when you're stressed? Is it when your self-esteem is low? It could be that you want to save more so that you can get out of debt. It could be that you want to save more so that you can eventually purchase your own property. It could be that you want to just put more money in your emergency fund because energy prices are insane, and you want to kind of create a bigger buffer so that when winter comes around, you're less stressed. The reason why really doesn't matter so long as it's important to you. So let me know in the comments if you're up for joining me on No Spend September, and if you're happy to share why you've decided to give this a go. Equally, if a no spend challenge or a no buy challenge is not for you, that is perfectly fine. There's multiple ways to save money. You don't have to do a no buy. What's right for one won't be right for everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.